You didn't choose that coffee. You didn't choose that shampoo. You didn't even choose the color of the phone case in your pocket. Someone else planted those decisions in your head long before you thought you made them. And the wildest part? You think it was your free choice, but it wasn't. Marketers did it, and they've been doing it to you for years without you even noticing. By the time you finish this video, you'll see the invisible strings pulling on your mind every time you shop, walk through a store, scroll online, or even just glance at an ad. Because the truth is, marketers don't just want your money, they want your attention, your emotions, your trust. And once you learn the tricks they use, you'll never look at an advertisement, a price tag, or a store the same way again. So here's my promise to you. Stick with me until the very end. And not only will I reveal all 8 of these hidden mind tricks, but I'll also give you a counter hack, a simple way to defend yourself, so you stop buying what they want and start choosing what you truly want. Let's start with something small, something you've probably seen 1,000 times but never questioned. Imagine you walk into a store and see a price tag that says $9.99. Your brain instantly thinks, that's under $10, that's a good deal. But here's the thing, you know logically it's basically $10. Yet deep down it feels different. This is called the left digit effect. Your mind sees that first number, the 9, and clings to it. 9 feels cheaper than 10. Marketers know it. That one little digit shift from $10 to $9.99 earns companies billions of extra dollars every year. You don't notice it, but it works. Now you might be thinking, okay, sure, but that's just a cent. But pause for a second. If they can trick you into feeling a completely different emotion about a single number, imagine what else they can do. Here's another example.
Have you ever been on a website where it says,
only 2 left in stock or sale ends in 3 hours? Suddenly your pulse quickens, right? You feel this urge, this panic almost, to buy before it's gone. That's scarcity. And scarcity taps into one of the oldest survival instincts in your brain, the fear of loss. Psychologists call it loss aversion. We hate losing twice as much as we love winning. So when you see only 2 left, your brain screams, if I don't grab this now, I'll lose forever. Even if you didn't want it in the first place, suddenly you do. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine bought sneakers online, expensive ones. He didn't even like them that much, but the website shouted, only 1 left in your size. He panicked, hit buy, and bragged about how he scored the last pair. 2 weeks later, the same website showed, only 1 left in your size again. Same shoes, same trick. He didn't beat the system. He got played, and deep down he knew it. But the fear of missing out was stronger than logic in that moment. And that's the thing. These tricks don't just work on other people. They work on me. They work on you. They work on everyone, because they're wired into human psychology. Now let's push it further. Have you noticed how restaurants always have one ridiculously overpriced item on the menu? Like a $200 bottle of wine or a $70 steak? Almost nobody buys it, but it's not there for you to buy. It's there to make the $50 steak look reasonable. This is called anchoring. Your brain needs a reference point. By putting something outrageously expensive next to something moderately expensive, they make the moderate option feel like a bargain. You didn't save money, you just got manipulated into spending more than you planned. And it doesn't stop there. Ever been in a crowd where everyone's looking at something so you look too? Or everyone claps so you clap? That's social proof. We humans are herd animals. We don't want to be left out. So when we see bestseller or most popular choice, we trust it more. Marketers slap those words on packaging, websites, ads, and even if it's not true, you're more likely to buy it. Think about Amazon reviews. You might not trust the company, but if 20,000 people gave it 5 stars, you feel safe, even though reviews can be faked. This is where it gets sneaky. Social proof makes us trust strangers over our own instincts. It's like saying, I don't know if I like this, but if everyone else does, it must be good. And before you know it, you're checking out with something you didn't even think about yesterday. But wait, here's where they twist the knife even deeper. Authority bias. That's when we trust people in power, experts, celebrities, even people in lab coats. Ever seen a toothpaste ad that says, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this brand? That's not about toothpaste. That's about authority. You think, well, if dentists say so, it must be true. Same with celebrities holding up skincare bottles on Instagram. Do they use it? Probably not. but the authority of their fame transfers to the product, and your brain takes the shortcut. If they approve, it must be good. I'll tell you something crazy. There was a study where researchers dressed someone in a suit and had him cross the street against the red light. Almost everyone around followed him, even though it was dangerous. When the same guy crossed in normal clothes, far fewer people followed. Nothing changed except the appearance of authority. And marketers exploit that every single day. So far, we've talked about numbers, scarcity, anchors, the crowd, and authority. But that's just half the story. There are still tricks even more invisible, like framing. Imagine you're in a supermarket and you see beef labeled as 80% lean versus beef labeled as 20% fat. It's the same product, but most people choose the one that says 80% lean because it sounds positive. That's framing. Same reality, different frame, and marketers use it to control how you feel without changing a thing about the product. And then there's priming. You see a happy family in an ad, and suddenly you associate those warm feelings with the cereal they're eating. Next time you're in the store, you don't think, "I want cereal." You think, "That cereal makes me feel good." Not logically, emotionally. Marketers aren't just selling food. They're planting emotions in your brain like seeds waiting to grow later. You know what's scarier? These tricks don't even stop when you leave the store. They follow you online. Every click, every scroll, every pause is tracked. And that data is fed back into algorithms designed to serve you ads at the exact moment you're most vulnerable. You think you're making choices, but in reality, you're dancing to a tune written by someone else. And we're not even at the end yet. Because the eighth trick, the most powerful, one of all, is the illusion of free choice. You walk into a supermarket thinking you're free to buy whatever you want. But everything, the layout, the colors, the music, the smells, is engineered to push you toward certain decisions. That impulse buy at checkout? That wasn't random. That was design. Your freedom of choice? More like the freedom to choose between options someone carefully put in front of you. So here's the question. Knowing all this, what can you do? How do you break free? That's exactly what I'll reveal at the end of this video. A simple counter hack that flips the script so you're in control, not them. But first, let's go even deeper, because some of these tricks don't just steal your money. They steal something far more valuable: your attention, your peace of mind, even your identity. Now let's peel back the curtain even further. Because if you thought these tricks were just harmless little nudges, think again. Marketers don't just want you to spend money. They want to train your brain like Pavlov trained his dogs. Remember that experiment? Every time he rang a bell, the dogs would start salivating even when there was no food. Their brains connected the sound to the reward. That's exactly what marketers are doing to you every single day. Think about the notification sound on your phone. That little ding. Doesn't matter if it's an email, a text, or a sale alert. It instantly grabs your attention. Your brain lights up with a hit of dopamine, the chemical of reward. And here's the kicker. Marketers use that. They send you timed emails, push notifications, app reminders, not because you need them, but because they know you've been conditioned to respond. Ding equals attention. Attention equals sales. And here's something that might shock you. There are entire teams of psychologists, not just advertisers, whose sole job is to figure out how to hijack your brain. They run experiments on people just like you, testing headlines, colors, sounds, even the exact second to pop up an ad. They're not guessing. They're using science, behavioral psychology to predict what you'll do before you even do it. Let's take a real-world example. Walk into a supermarket. Have you noticed how the bakery is often near the entrance? That's not random. Fresh bread smell triggers comfort and hunger, which lowers your resistance. You walk in thinking you'll grab milk and suddenly you're craving pastries. Then the produce section hits you with bright, fresh colors, greens, reds, yellows that signal health and abundance. You subconsciously feel better about filling your cart. That's not design, that's psychology. And then the most dangerous zone, the checkout line. Candy bars, gum, little gadgets, all perfectly placed for impulse buying. By the time you reach the register, your brain is tired from decision fatigue. You've been making choices for half an hour, and your willpower is running low. That's when you're most vulnerable. They hit you with shiny, cheap, easy-to-grab items. And guess what? Millions of dollars are made in those last 60 seconds of shopping. It's wild, isn't it? You think you're buying because you want something. But in reality, the store is choreographing your entire journey. like a puppet master pulling strings you can't see. And speaking of puppet strings, let's talk about colors. You ever notice how fast food chains love red and yellow? Think McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, that's not coincidence. Red triggers urgency and excitement. Yellow triggers warmth and hunger. Together they scream, eat now, eat fast. On the flip side, luxury brands like Chanel, Rolex, or Gucci. Black and gold. Why? Because black signals power, mystery, and exclusivity. Gold signals wealth. The colors aren't about style. They're about emotion. And emotions drive purchases. Here's another sneaky one, music. Ever wondered why high-end stores play slow, classical tunes while fast food restaurants blast upbeat pop? Slow music makes you linger. Lingering means more browsing. More browsing means more buying. Fast music makes you eat quickly, flip tables faster, and guess what? Sell to more customers per hour. You don't even realize it, but your pace, your mood, your spending, they're all being shaped by sound waves in the background. I'll give you a personal story. A few years ago, I walked into a high-end clothing store. The lights were dim, soft jazz playing, everything perfectly folded. I wasn't even planning to shop, but within 20 minutes, I was holding a shirt I didn't need. Why? Because the entire atmosphere whispered, "This is classy. This is who you want to be." And deep down, I bought not a shirt, but a story about myself. And that's the most powerful trick of all. Because here's the truth, people don't buy products. They buy identities. You don't buy Nike shoes. You buy the feeling of being an athlete, a fighter, a winner. You don't buy Apple. You buy creativity, status, belonging to the Think Different tribe. You don't buy Starbucks. You buy community, routine, and a little ritual of comfort. And marketers know that if they can link their product to your sense of self, they own you. Now let's add another layer. Free. You've seen this, right? Buy one, get one free. Or free trial. Free feels irresistible. But here's the paradox. Free isn't free. Free locks you in. Free gets you started. Free lowers your guard. A free trial on a subscription. You forget to cancel. A free sample at Costco. You feel obligated to buy the box. Psychologists call it the reciprocity effect. When someone gives you something, even tiny, you feel you owe them. Marketers weaponize that. They give you free, so they can take much more later. And here's where the illusion of choice comes in. You walk into a store and think, look at all these options. I'm in control. But too many choices don't empower you, they overwhelm you. Psychologists ran a study where they offered shoppers either 24 kinds of jam or just 6. Guess what? More people stopped at the big table, but far more bought at the small one. Why? Because when choices overwhelm, you freeze. And marketers know that. That's why they curate your options, limit your view, and guide you down the path they want. You feel free. But really, you're walking inside walls they built for you. So here's the cliffhanger. If all of this is happening, if your brain is being nudged, pulled, framed, primed, tricked every time you shop, then how much of your life is truly yours? Think about it. The food you eat, the clothes you wear, the phone you carry, the apps you download, are they your choices? Or are they the choices of marketers who understood your psychology better than you understand yourself? And here's the scary part. Once you start noticing these tricks, you'll see them everywhere. Ads won't look the same. Stores won't feel the same. Even your online scrolling will suddenly feel different. Because you'll realize this isn't just shopping. This is psychological warfare. But don't panic, because there is a way out. There's a simple counter hack that flips the game, puts the power back in your hands, and lets you make choices that are truly yours. And I'll reveal that at the very end. But before we get there, I want to take you even deeper into the psychology behind why these tricks work. So you don't just see them, you feel them. Because once you feel how you're being manipulated, you'll never fall for it again. Here's the thing about these tricks. They don't just change what you buy, they change who you are when you buy. Because when marketers hack your brain, they're not just reaching into your wallet, they're reaching into your identity, your values, your story of yourself. Let me explain. Have you ever noticed how some ads don't even talk about the product? Think of luxury car commercials. Half the time, they don't show the car's features. Instead, they show winding roads, dramatic music, slow-motion shots of a confident man or woman driving through a city skyline. They're not selling horsepower. They're selling freedom. They're selling status. They're selling you becoming someone else. And here's the psychological principle: self-concept. Humans buy things that align with how they see themselves, or how they want to see themselves. If you see yourself as adventurous, you're drawn to brands that scream adventure. If you see yourself as classy, you're drawn to elegance. Marketers know that if they can tie their product to your identity, you're hooked for life. Because every purchase becomes a vote for the person you want to be. And this is why some brands create what psychologists call tribes. Think about Apple. The commercials aren't just about phones. They're about think different. When you buy Apple, you're joining a group of rebels, creators, dreamers. Nike, just do it. You're joining a tribe of doers, athletes, grinders. Starbucks? It's not about coffee. It's about being part of the morning routine, the hustle, the culture. You're not just buying caffeine, you're buying belonging. Let me give you a story. A guy I know switched from an Android to an iPhone. He didn't need to. His Android worked perfectly fine. But he admitted something to me. When he pulled out his old phone in meetings, he felt out of place. Everyone else had iPhones. And without realizing it, he felt like an outsider. So he switched. Did the iPhone suddenly make him smarter, more successful, or more creative? Of course not. But it made him feel like he belonged. That's the power of identity marketing. Now here's where it gets even sneakier. Marketers don't just link products to who you are, they link them to who you fear becoming. Think of anti-aging creams. The ads don't just say, "This will hydrate your skin." No, they show wrinkles, tired faces, loneliness. The fear isn't dryness. The fear is irrelevance. The fear is invisibility. And the cream becomes a symbol of hope. Same with deodorants. The message isn't stay fresh. The hidden message is, if you don't use this, people won't like you. See what's happening? They don't just sell products. They sell safety from shame. They sell an escape from fear. And the craziest thing? Most of us don't even realize it's happening. Because the brain doesn't stop and say, wait, is this fear real? No, the brain reacts. It feels the pain, the insecurity, the longing. And in that vulnerable moment, bam, the product becomes the solution. Now let's take it even further. Ever been on a website and seen a timer counting down? 10 minutes left for the deal. 9 minutes. 8 minutes. Your heart starts racing. That's not just scarcity. That's urgency stacked with anxiety. It hijacks your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, and hands the wheel to your amygdala, the emotional. Suddenly you're not thinking. You're reacting. And reaction means sales. Psychologists have a term for this. System 1 thinking. Quick, emotional, impulsive. Marketers want to keep you in System 1 mode. Why? Because if you stop to think logically, you might say, wait, I don't actually need this. But if you're in emotional mode, you click buy. No questions asked. And guess what? Technology amplifies this 1,000 times. Social media isn't just a playground, it's a psychological laboratory. Infinite scroll, push notifications, like buttons, all designed to keep you hooked, to make you associate dopamine with buying, clicking, engaging. Ever wonder why Instagram ads feel so perfectly timed? Because they know what you've been searching, what you've been pausing on, even what colors catch your eye. The ad that appears in your feed isn't random. It's calculated to hit you when you're most vulnerable. I'll tell you something chilling. Some apps track not only what you click, but how long your finger hovers over the screen, how fast you scroll, how many times you zoom in on a picture, all those micro behaviors. Data. Data that predicts your next move better than you can predict it yourself. And marketers use that to craft ads so targeted, so precise you feel like they're reading your mind. But they're not reading your mind, they're rewriting it. And here's the emotional punch, it works. It works on you, it works on me, it works on all of us. Because the brain is ancient. It evolved in caves, not in malls. It evolved to survive lions, not to resist limited time offers. Marketers exploit instincts that were designed to keep us alive and twist them into tools that make us consume. Let's pause here. Ask yourself, how many times have you bought something only to regret it later? A gadget you didn't need, clothes you never wore, subscriptions you forgot about. That regret, that's the echo of manipulation. That's the moment your logical brain wakes up and says, wait, why did I do that? But by then it's too late. The money's gone. But don't worry, this isn't all doom and gloom. Because remember, I promised you a counter hack, a way to fight back, to step out of the trance and reclaim your choices. And I'll share it, but not yet, because there's still one more layer we need to uncover, a layer so subtle, so powerful, that most people never notice it, even though it controls almost every purchase they make. It's the trick that doesn't just guide your choices in the moment. It shapes your desires before you even walk into the store. And once you see it, you'll realize marketers aren't just influencing your spending, they're influencing your dreams. So far, we've exposed tricks that manipulate your choices in the moment. Pricing, scarcity, urgency, authority, framing. But what if I told you the deepest trick of all doesn't just shape your decisions at checkout? It shapes your desires before you even realize you have them. So here's the cliffhanger. In a moment, I'm going to reveal the counter hack. The mental tool that flips the power back into your hands. The tool that makes you immune to the most common tricks. And when you have it, you'll walk into a store, scroll through an app, see an ad, and instead of being pulled like a puppet, you'll smile, because you'll know what they're doing, and you'll get to decide whether to play along. So here we are. You've seen the hidden tricks, the pricing illusions, the scarcity traps, the authority games, the emotional hooks, the tribe marketing, the priming, the staged social proof, the manufactured desires. 8 powerful mind hacks that marketers use against you every single day. And now comes the part that matters most. Because knowledge without action changes nothing. You need a counter hack, a way to fight back, a way to stop being manipulated and start being in control. Here it is, and it's deceptively simple. Pause. That's it, pause. The pause is your shield. See? All of these tricks, every single one of them, depends on speed. They depend on you reacting instead of thinking. They depend on your brain being an emotional autopilot, not rational analysis. Scarcity says, buy now or lose it. Urgency says time is running out. Social proof says, everyone's already doing it. They all want you to act instantly. But if you pause even for 5 seconds, you switch from emotional brain to rational brain. You go from system 1 to system 2, from impulsive to thoughtful. That pause breaks the spell. Next time you see only one left in stock, pause, ask yourself, would I want this if there were 1,000 left? Next time you see a countdown timer, pause, ask, if this deal shows up again tomorrow, will I care? Next time you see a celebrity or influencer holding a product, pause, ask, do I want the product? Or do I just want to feel like them? That pause, tiny, invisible, quiet, is the most powerful defense you have. It gives you back your freedom of choice. But let's take it further. Here are 3 practical questions you can use as your personal anti-marketing toolkit. Keep these in your pocket. Question 1. Do I actually need this, or was I just made to want it? Need is about solving a real problem. Want is about solving a problem someone else created in your head. Question 2. If I buy this, how will I feel a week from now? Excited, proud, or guilty and regretful? If the future you won't thank you, don't do it. Question 3. What story am I buying? Because remember, marketers don't sell products, they sell identities. Are you buying shoes, or are you buying the feeling of being an athlete? Are you buying coffee, or are you buying a ritual of belonging? Knowing the story gives you power. You can choose to accept it or reject it. And here's the truth, rejecting it is okay. You don't need to live by every script marketers hand you. You can write your own. Let me give you a final story to tie it all together. There was a man who wanted a new car. He kept seeing ads, sleek cars speeding down empty highways, music blasting, cool people behind the wheel. He was tempted. Then he paused. He asked himself, what problem is this solving? The answer, none. His old car worked fine. He asked, how will I feel a week after buying it? The answer, stressed about the payments. He asked, what story am I buying? The answer, that owning this car would make him more confident, more respected. But he realized confidence doesn't come from metal and wheels. It comes from within. He didn't buy the car. And he didn't regret it, because in that pause he remembered who was really in control. And that's the gift I want to leave you with today. Awareness, power, freedom. You are not powerless against marketers. You are not a puppet. You are a human being with a brain powerful enough to pause, to question, to choose. So the next time you're in a store, scrolling online or watching an ad, remember, you are not just a consumer. You are a chooser. And the most powerful purchase you can make is reclaiming your own mind. Now, if this video opened your eyes even a little, here's what I want you to do. Don't just watch and move on. Take action. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these tricks you've fallen for before. Was it the countdown timer? The only 2 left trick? The fake authority? Share it, because when you put it in words, you see it more clearly. And if you want more videos that reveal the hidden, the psychology of everyday life, the secrets marketers, leaders, even people around you don't want you to know, hit that like button, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because every week, I share insights that help you understand your mind and protect it from manipulation. Think about it. Marketers spend billions to understand you. Isn't it time you invested a little time to understand yourself? So subscribe, join this journey, and together, let's make sure your choices are truly yours.